everyone. This is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. We have a podcast or a video episode or whatever you want to call it going up tomorrow well, you know what? I'm going to let that be a surprise. But I wanted to do a quick podcast, and we're also going to put it on YouTube because I was making some calls today about the Giants coaching search. You know what? To me, it's time to rule out Matt. I think he is a good coaching candidate, but you know what? I'm not seeing it for the New York Giants. Here, and you got to bear with me a little bit because everyone's going to be like, whoa, you don't know what you're talking about. He's the greatest coaching candidate ever on the college ranks. No, he's not. You know, he played linebacker at Penn State in the mid-'90s. You know, his coaching career consists of defensive line at Buffalo, 1 year at UCLA, a bunch of years at Western Carolina. He was at Temple he was at Temple from 2006 to 2011 before he came over to the Giants. He was an assistant offensive line coach. He coached at Temple. He coached the quarterbacks, the running backs. He was an offensive coordinator, tight ends, and then finally in 2013 he got his shot as the head coach at Temple. Temple, yes, he did resurrect the Temple program. Temple was on the outs. You know, when he took over, they were actually talking about canceling the program because, like I said, Temple's about 45 minutes from us. So he really did. You know, I remember when Temple had their glory days with Paul Palmer back in the 80s. So you know what? They really were in the outs. You know, in his first Temple seasons, he was 2-10 and 6-6, and then he went 10-4, 10-3. He won a bowl game and he lost a bowl game. You know, and he departed Temple for Baylor right before the bowl game in 2016. So he didn't even coach the bowl game they won. My problem with him is, you know what? He may be a good college coach. And honestly, he's only coached at Temple and Baylor. It's not like he's coached at Florida. It's coached at, you know, he's like the head coach at USC. He wasn't anywhere there. There's a difference between sitting in the living room and getting a kid to commit in their family to commit to a school than there is to have a free agent look at the Giant program and say, you know what? I really want to go play for this guy. I want to go play for this Matt Rhule. You know, you're not going to have that. I've made a couple calls, and you'll know more about my resume tomorrow, but I made a couple calls, one to a former agent and one to two ex-NFL assistants. And they all felt the same thing. You're not going to get, you know, that wow factor from inside the league from Matt Rhule. And, you know, and that's just the way it is. Yeah, what he did at Baylor was, you know, okay. I mean, he went 1-11, 7-6, and 11-3, and then he lost in the Sugar Bowl. But, you know, it's not, and even in Baylor, like I said, he didn't even have the pro talent at Baylor, that's what made what he did even more amazing. But again, he's going to be at the pro level. He's got a lot of kids on this team. But you know what? We need someone to groom Daniel Jones. We need someone to work with Saquon Barkley. We need other players in the league to get excited to want to come to the Giants. And like I said, I talked to one former agent, two ex-NFL assistants, and they said the same thing. Around the league, in their minds, the Rhule factor is not there. It's not the wow factor. You know, you're not going to have free agents go, damn, man, I really want to go play for New York to play for Matt. And also, people need to remember, when he was up for the Jet job last year before they went with Adam, you know, he re-signed with Baylor back in September, I think it was, of last year. And he's got a contract that runs through 2027. And I made a quick call to the Baylor athletic department to try to get some more information on the buyout. And they're not giving out too much information. They're just saying it's a very lucrative buyout. And the word around the league is the buyout is going to be between 10 to 17 million. So we're going to have to help him with the buyout, figure out something with the buyout. Then, one of the problems also that he had with the Jets, and the reason that he didn't get the Jet job is he wanted more control over who his assistants and coordinators are going to be. Okay, my thing is, listen, you had one season with the Giants in 2011 as the assistant line coach. Yeah, David Deal and some of the other linemen really love you, but you know what? You're not Lombardi coming in. Hell, you know what? I had a conversation years ago with Steve Spurrier at a banquet, and Steve Spurrier had just left the Washington Redskins, and he said, you know what? It's a lot different coaching men than it is coaching in college. You have to coach professionals. They don't respond the same way. He couldn't do the same thing he used to love to do in Florida, which was, I remember a game in Louisville in Jesse Palmer's last year. He was out on the golf course before the game. It was back on the golf course. Steve Spurrier was after, the day after the game. It's just interesting that, and he knew, and he had a pedigree. He came in from Florida with a championship. He came in from Florida with a championship when he went to Washington. But he figured out how difficult it was to coach in the NFL. And of course, he went back to South Carolina, and the rest is history. My candidate, and people are going to think I'm crazy, but it's going to be Don Wink Martindale. Don, to me, is the antithesis of being a pro. Yes, he was an assistant at Notre Dame for a bunch of years, at Cincinnati, Western Illinois, Western Kentucky. Then he became the linebacker coach for the Raiders in 2004 to, I think, 2008. He was the Denver Broncos for 2 years, but was the offensive coordinator in 2010 when they were kind of sucky. Then he went over to the Ravens for 5 years as a linebacker coach, and then he was a defensive coordinator this year. Now, he's already interviewed with the Giants, but the word is around the league that players love Martindale. They love playing for him. They want to play for him. It's not something that they're just like, he has that pedigree through the league. He's also only 56 years old. He's been an assistant 2004. He's been extremely consistent everywhere that he's gone. He's, from what I hear, he's very charismatic. He's a big personality. He would be perfect for the Giants. And they say that his approach is really known to get the players to buy in. And that's what we want. And like I said, I hope Matt Rhule, if he does become the Giant coach, is awesome. I hope he is the best. But like I said, I think it's time to rule out Matt and take a look at Wink. And I know he's already interviewed, and he's got the playoff game this Sunday, Saturday afternoon. You know what? I think we need to stick. I just have a feeling with Don Wink Martindale. I just have a feeling that he can be the missing link. He could be the Belichick. The young, well, not young, but he could be the Belichick that comes in. The defensive coordinator. The linebacker coach. He's got a very consistent resume, except for the lack of defense coordinator experience than like Belichick had, in reference to how much he was an assistant. But I'm not saying he's not. Trust me, I'm not saying he's going to be Belichick. But I really think that if we want the league to buy into us, we want the free agents to buy into us, and we want our own team to buy into us, Don Wink Martindale is the way to go. This is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment, and look out for that new episode tomorrow. Thanks.